Our next guest was born and raised in Iran. Alfoneh is a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. And Ali, you recently did some massive research. It was very interesting. You took a look at the multi-volume memoirs of a once president, still current government official in Iran, and what they said about their nuclear program. What did he say?
Well, Mr. Rafsanjani's memoirs, they're published with slightly more than 20 years of delay. And in these memoirs, he's talking about a relationship between Iran and North Korea, particularly about shipment of special commodity between Iran and North Korea. Iran importing a specific commodity, special commodity with which, Iran could advance certain unspecified programs. And I think it should be a source of concern to any nuclear negotiator here in the U.S. That, nobody knows what type of materials Iran exported to North Korea and what type of materials Iran imported from that country.
Interesting that these memoirs, as we mentioned, they're published. They're published in Farsi. You write and speak Farsi, so you're able to look at them. But why publicly would a government official be so open about this? Do you think it's propaganda?
Mr. Rafsanjani wants to be remembered as the father of the nuclear bomb, and he knows that within a decade Iran is going to be a nuclear power, and he certainly wants to take the honor and prestige of having been that key person in that process.
So do you think this is a way, as you take a look at these memoirs, that regardless of what's agreed upon for a deal and inspections inside Iran, that this is just evidence that Iran is working different angles to continue to pursue a nuclear weapon?
Absolutely, and I am deeply concerned that the United States government is not paying too much attention to the Persian language material, particularly memoirs of Iranian statesmen and the very, very murky and secret relationship between Iran and North Korea.
And why do you think we're not paying close enough attention? What do you think the motivation is?
Possibly because the Obama administration so desperately wants an agreement. And if that kind of information comes to the knowledge of the public, it makes negotiation process even more difficult. And Iran is not going to give any specific answers to these questions. So if you really want to have an agreement, you probably do not want to know much about it.
Interesting. And one of the points that has been holding up a deal is whether or not Iran will answer honestly about pursuits in their nuclear program a decade ago, taking a look back. They've never really talked about that, and it's interesting that you're already seeing one perspective about what perhaps they were doing. One of the other things, Ali, you've looked at a lot is the Revolutionary Guard inside Iran, and I think it bears reminding to our viewers about who's really in control in the country, regardless of who's actually doing the negotiations in Switzerland. What do you think our viewers need to know about that?
I genuinely believe that every American has the right to know that behind the civil and sophisticated facade of President Rouhani, there is a formidable military organization, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, which is exporting terrorism to the Middle East region, which is the engine of the nuclear program, and which is bound to benefit most from Iran becoming a nuclear power. Right now, Mr. Rouhani is getting the sanctions relief and concessions from the United States, but it's not going to be Mr. Rouhani who will be in power a couple of years from now. A couple of years from now, it's going to be those men in uniform who are at the helm of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps.
And we've talked about some of those men being active in Iraq as well, neighboring Iraq, and the pursuit of Iran in that part of the world to have more of an active leadership role, quite frankly. Ali, I have to ask you this before we go. One of the reasons why we wanted to have you on is because you do have the language knowledge that you know. I certainly am not reading Farsi newspapers. I don't actually know what's happening inside of Iran and the press there. And I'm just curious about your personal experience and your personal journey. I mean, are you able to travel back and forth to Iran? Can you do that? Have you seen your family? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm sure that I can travel back to Iran, but I would probably not be able of returning to America. I would only need a one-way ticket. And after entering Iran, I would probably also be enjoying the hospitality of the Islamic Republic of Iran government.
As being an open critic, And I should mention, Ali, your citizenship now, what is your citizenship status?
I'm a naturalized citizen of Denmark. Denmark has been very, very good to political refugees in the 1980s and 90s. Just like that little country helped many, many of its Jewish citizens flee to Sweden during World War II. It is one of those democracies which is honoring its obligations to humanity, and I'm deeply thankful to that country, and I'm deeply thankful to America for allowing me to contribute to the public debate in this country.
It's nice to have your knowledge and your background, and I wanted our viewers to kind of understand what it actually takes to be an open critic of the regime while also being a native Iranian. Ali, it's great to have you on the program. We look forward to having you back. News out of the deal, so we'll certainly see what that says and what the results are. Thank you so much. Look forward to having you back.
Thank you.